Your book is a mixture of fact, the Roswell incident, and fiction, because there's a narrative throughout. The aliens that you describe in the book are not exactly endearing creatures, and yet you want us to understand them, and the descriptions of the aliens you write about would make us fear them. Embryo abductions, for instance.
Well, what I experienced was extremely frightening, and if this is real and it spreads, we get 50 letters a day. That's the remarkable thing. After I wrote Communion, I didn't expect to, I hoped I would get a successful book out of it, of course, but I didn't expect what happened, which is that ever since it was written, we have been getting between 30 and 50 letters a day, and that's 4.5 years ago.
There would be the suspicion, though, that Americans used to have the commies to kick around.
That's my fear.
Right.
That now that the
they
commies
don't
are
have
gone,
commies to kick around anymore, so they have aliens.
The government's going to admit that this is happening and say they're terribly evil, and we better go ahead and build Star Wars.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? This looks really weird looking at myself on this because I've got my screen turned so far down. I'm looking into a black void. It's like the opposite of Ollie's monitor. I hope everyone's fine. I'm not going to keep going on about the t-shirts, which are going to get taken off the store soon, but they are, so go and buy them. I'm not going to go on about becoming a channel member, because you should do, and you should do it right now. I'm definitely not going to tell you that you should go and subscribe to our Rockfin immediately, as in like right now. Like, do it in your browser now. I'm not going to tell you to open a separate browser or pick your mobile phone up. Subscribe to Rockfin. It's free. Just to join up and follow people. We've got free content on there. I'm not going to tell you that we're going to have a special show that's going to be kind of like no holds barred, which you couldn't get away with on YouTube. I'm definitely not going to tell you that. So don't go and subscribe to it. But you should probably be doing it right now. David, it's over to you.
Hey, did you tell everyone about the t-shirts that are getting taken down?
No, I didn't. I didn't tell them about t-shirts.
You guys should go get a t-shirt. Did you tell them about subscribing to become a premium member?
No, I didn't tell them about being a channel member.
You guys should definitely. Did you tell them about the Rockfin thing?
The Rockfin thing? No, I didn't. I've just got rid of you. No, I didn't.
What
tell
are you
them about
doing
the
here,
Rockfin
man?
thing.
What are you doing here?
Didn't tell them about Rockfin at all.
It's amateur hour.
It is amateur hour, but that's why people are here. That's why.
No. I mean, I think Gustav's here because his nipples are hard and his strap-on strapped in.
I'm just convinced he has nothing better to do. Like that.
Why do you think I'm here?
It's fair.
I'm just filling hours in the day, man.
You know what? The photographs on this StreamYard thing need to be tidied up with something rotten, because ever since doing the Billy Meyer thing, there's just hundreds of photographs like that. Nobody needs that. Nobody ever needs that again.
I love that. That should be on the t-shirts.
So have you been in the 7 days since I've looked at your sweet baby face?
I went ghost hunting in a 60,000 square foot abandoned hospital with 4 different buildings on site and 5 floors of fun and excitement, with a hallway that is a city block long, with 7 other people. Very, very good friend. My wife was one of them. and other good friends of ours, family friends of ours. That was interesting. So some weird shit. That was last night. Been busy, man. You know, going out of town next week, and then you guys will be coming out shortly thereafter, and then we have a vacation after that. And I got a couple more vacations this summer. That's about it. Other than that, just chilling, man. Just taking it easy. Teaching my boy to mow the yard.
It's so good when they become useful. Like there was a hot minute there where I managed to convince my son that hoovering was fun. It didn't last long, but for those few weeks, it was incredible. Yeah. How was the haunted hospital?
It's the third time I've been there. It's going to not the time, like it will be featured on different TV shows and I think a couple Marvel things.
That hospital's already been featured on Ghost Adventures, I think, and Taps.
It has
a thing.
Yes, and there's 4 or 5 other things like that are pilots have been filmed there for other type shows, and it's an incredibly it's weird and it's active. Yeah, so we'll see if we can get it when you guys come out. I can't guarantee that, but I have other places that we can go that are very active. We'll see. And the problem with that particular place is it's massive.
Yeah.
And when it's just like, I mean, there were 8 of us and it was too big. And it's built
out like the basement. Let's sit in a pentagon for an hour.
So the interesting thing is the basement is not the active part of the building.
Is it not?
No, the active part of the building is one of the older wings that was at one time birthing unit, a geriatric unit, cardiac unit, and then like resident care, like until you die kind of unit. And it's the old part, and it is unbelievably. We got things on thermal. There was a wheelchair moved all by itself. Other interesting things happened. It was, and for a couple of the people there, like my buddy's son and one of his friends were there, and they'd never done anything like that. They were like, "What the hell? Oh my god!" Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, no,
break out all the toys.
I'm hoping we can do something like that when we come over.
Part of it was us testing some theories that we have, and I think the theories hold. And yeah, maybe we'll talk about that on the rock fin. Ooh, that way when someone rips off that, we know they've at least paid for it.
Yeah, I genuinely without shilling to just to get people to go over to Rockfin. I am very excited about doing the Rockfin.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there's too many times at some point during a show, a live stream, does somebody have to like walk around saying certain words or say, well, we can't say that on YouTube. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I feel
sexual?
that
you feel sexual. Your nipples hard?
A little bit. I feel like I have to apologize to you, Dave, if I'm perfectly honest.
Oh, no, don't apologize. Just you're going to come out. We'll figure things out.
So
I'll take my pound of flesh and we'll move on, right? We'll just get it out of the way.
I would like you to apologize. But I was speaking to somebody the other day and they suggested we watch Communion. And then, like, as if by magic, like the next day, Whitley Strieber was on the Higher Side Chats, and I listened to that podcast. And he was there promoting his new book, and I thought, fuck, Whitley Strieber's got a brand new book out. I could watch Communion with, like, I was going to, and then I could listen to the book. Bob's Your Uncle. Sunday's show is complete. So that's what we did.
Unfortunately, that is what we did.
I did not enjoy that book. I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed the
sexual material.
The sexual material. No, but like the first
torn anus.
Yeah. There's some quite weird things like the letters he'd get No, but the letters he got from people, either.
You mean the letter he got from Bruce Lee?
Yes, I thought even that. I thought, well, if you were sane, right? For people that don't realize this, the majority of that book is relaying accounts of alien abductions that he was sent after he wrote Communion, that his now deceased wife catalogued. Two strange things I found for anyone that does read or especially listens to that book is that he almost copies and pastes parts of the story and then relays it word for word afterwards, to the point that if you're listening to that on audiobook, you go, have I fucking skipped back a chapter?
Yep.
Did you have that as well?
Yep.
It is one of the most terribly produced things I've ever listened to because of that. Because I had it on when I was at work. So obviously, so China has all my health information. I have a smartwatch on when I'm at work, and I kept thinking, like, am I knocking my watch to and that's skipping me back a chapter? And I wasn't. It's just it's actually hard to explain. He'll start the beginning of the chapter telling the story, and then when he comes to summarize the story, he starts with the beginning of the story, word for word, how he started the story in the first place, but 20 minutes later.
So, like, people who listen probably don't know this, but I am actually an author myself. Mm-hmm. And so what he's done is he did the Audible himself. It saves a lot of money.
Tell them what your books are called, Dave, so they can go buy them on Amazon.
I don't, because I got to be honest, my book's probably with this crowd, it's not going to have crossover, and that's fine. I'm not here to promote it. It's a fun little known fact there. But I'm genuinely with
go and find Dave's books. Finding them is half the fun.
They're not actually that well hidden. They're I've sold several. It's so what he did it to save money. So him doing it saves a tremendous amount, and it gets more royalties in his pocket. And he has traditional publishers. He's not doing it himself. At least I believe so, because he was talking about the publishers he was using. Which I find weird, because if you're doing this level of self-production, just do it yourself, and your royalties are, especially with him, he has an established brand, he has reach, he doesn't need them, and he would make way more money, unless the money he's getting on the advance is more than the royalties earned.
Yeah,
which could be it. Like Communion's big book, his other books are not big books. And Communion, if you don't know it, and it's a movie with Christopher Walken where he gets sodomized by some aliens wearing party masks. That's the movie.
I watched that. I watched that movie the other day.
Did you enjoy it? It's a good movie.
No, it's it was an hour long. Movie. It was an hour too long. I enjoyed Christopher Walken in it. Christopher Walken's always entertaining, and he is a weird dude. And I think that's the thing. If you want to see Christopher Walken, who's weird at the best of times, doing his weirdest role, that's his weirdest performance. So if that's what you're after, Communion might be for you. I don't know what I should have looked this up, actually, because I think there was a creative choice, wasn't there, to make the aliens like flesh colored rather than gray. That was weird.
I don't know, man. I haven't read the original Communion. I don't want to. So, fun fact: Whitley at one time lived in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I attended a MUFON that he would occasionally show up at. Now, he and I were never in the same room. Whatever. I got to ask the guys who held it, because he was at one. Me and my friend showed up, and they're like, man, last time Whitley was here, and we just kind of let him have the floor and talk. And I was like, oh, that's because I knew him from Communion, right? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. How was that? Apparently it wasn't great. he made everyone a little uncomfortable with the level of sexual detail he would go into with random things. Which if you listen to read his latest book, you'll 100% get. Instead of just saying like it's his word choices. His word choices are specific, and it's specific in the way that a potential groomer would maybe prep his victim.
I think even on an like a slightly less like graphic idea of like grooming, it's his word choice is more of erotic fiction. It had that vibe to me,
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, you can absolutely describe it that way. And before we continue to do this, I want to just say that, like, I genuinely think something has happened to this guy. Like, his experiences are probably valid. Like, I have no proof that they're not. I don't know that, right? I don't know him at all. We've never met. We've never talked. He definitely has a lot of people behind him who have credibility. They're like, hey, this guy's legit. Mm-hmm. And in a court of law, that's enough. Like, you know what I mean? So I will go with it, but I will make connections that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, that they give me a level of uncomfort, right? Like, he's not someone like I would have around my family. He's not someone that I would want to hang out with. He's not someone that I would want to meet. I wouldn't share a beer with the guy. I wouldn't share a meal with the guy. I might say, oh, wow, hey, I read your book. Awesome. I'd be polite and move on. Is the book worth a read if you're really into this subject? I mean, if you're watching our podcast, you definitely are. Yeah, go for it, man. Go suffer like we did. Because there's interesting bits in it. And it can you chew the meat and spit out the bone?
I think the interesting parts for me is
sexual material.
Is sexual material. No, but the interesting parts for me were he talked about stuff in that it's some of it felt very similar to the like the stories of people like doing the trips in the spirit molecule. It had a lot of it had, especially there was one of the stories he said where some guy like fat white came across a clown, so, like someone dressed as a clown, like in thing, and the jester is a big part of like lots of people's like DMT trips in the spirit molecule. And because that's kind of where I land with the sort of abduction phenomena. I know people say that they have physical like physical leftovers from abductions, but a little bit of me, would you not find that if you, let's say something crazy happens to you and you've decided that the way you process this thing in your mind, you've been abducted. That's where it's got to you. Like, I have a perfect circle on my wrist. This camera won't pick it up, but it's like a perfect circle with a dot inside it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it's there. It's like a little scar.
It's your cattle brand. You've been tagged, obviously.
Yeah, but I don't believe I've ever been abducted.
Yeah, but it's called denial. Sure, go with that.
But if I had been abducted, and then I was trying to come to that, and then I looked at my arm and thought, oh, the mark. I would absolutely have pictures of that dot in a plethora of UFO magazines now as proof that I've been abducted. So that's kind of where I am with with physical marks. But I do think something happens. But I think it's like a metaphysical thing. I don't think it's a flesh and blood thing. I think it's something that happens within the mind.
So maybe, right? I think that definitely happens. I think that most abductions are probably spiritual, metaphysical, whatever in nature, right? Because this is a flesh shoot. This isn't who we are. That's my belief. I wonder if but the aliens like more Travis Walton or Whitley. I don't know. Travis gave me the impression he could crack a walnut.
I reckon it would be Whitley for the back end because he was quite slim in his day. I think he'd have.
Travis was fit. He was a logger, man.
Yeah, but Travis had that mustache, so I think you go front end with Travis.
Nah, you put the mirror in front of you. You want to see the expressions.
No, you'd want the tickle.
So we differ on that. I don't know. Preference, right? We let's not assume their preference. That's we can't be guilty of that. So there's a couple things that I think play host for physical evidence, right? And just a couple that we can do that anyone could look up and find easily. One would be Patient 17, the Jeremy Corbell documentary. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Very good. Mm-hmm. They pull a thing out of a guy's knee that contains an isotope that isn't found in the Milky Way. And he takes it to an expert in not only isotopes, but that particular one who can explain how it's made from a collapsing star, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And that this shouldn't be. Not only that, these things shouldn't be layered this way. Like this isn't normal, and go watch that documentary and see what you think. I'm not going to sway anyone. I found it interesting. Another one, even though I find him to be a very interesting not interesting, I find him to be kind of creepy, is Stan Romanek, right? Stan Romanek tore his ACL in his knee. They have MRIs, they have imaging of that. He tore it. He was going to get it fixed. He had what he would say is an abduction experience. His ACL was fixed. And he had 5 marks on his leg. Like, interestingly enough, like you said, a circle with a dot in it.
So is that because I didn't realize that I've heard it and I've forgotten it. Because like a torn ACL, especially for an unfit person, is a fucking
even if you're fit, bro. Not only that, it's a big deal. Like without getting that done, you will be a cripple.
Yes,
you're going to be a cripple. You have to get that fixed. I have several friends that have torn theirs, and back when I was athletic, before I got extra comfortable in life. Yeah, like it's a terrible thing. It's a lot of work to get through, especially when he was a full-grown adult man. When I think he was in his late 30s, early 40s or something when it happened. So that's even worse for recovery time. You're not a young, athletic, fit person who's like, okay, you're going to be 6 to 18 months before you're. Whoa, this is a big deal. I had a buddy. He does triathlons now, but back in the day when we did stuff, he tore his, and he was a super fit dude. And I think it took him like 9 months ish to really kind of come back. And even then it was slow before he was doing things again. And, so those are facts like that happened. That was a Stan thing. There's physical, that there was interaction with a person, and during Patient 17, even though they didn't go into it, the dude who was doing a lot of the medical research, the whatever his name was, who it turned out to be Patient 16
with the mustache. He's dead now.
No, Lear. That was Lear.
No, I think that doctor's dead now as well.
Yeah, he is. No, the dude who worked at the labs, who was doing the scanning electron microscope work, and all that jab. And they send all that stuff off to SEAL Labs. They test their reputations on the line. They're not giving you false information. They text, radioactive isotopes for medical research.
But in these UFO documentaries, there always does seem to be a laboratory that'll give you the results you want if you look hard enough.
Yeah, but not that one. Like, that's a real, like, people are like, well, we got it from a lab. Which one? A university. Who ran it? Whereas, like, SEAL Labs, that's, the government sends them, what's my, I need an outside verification of the, potency or the refinement on plutonium or uranium or this medical isotope that we've made. That's who they would go to. Like their reputation. And the interesting thing is Jeremy Corbell has that conversation with them, and they're like, hey, what you have is what you have. We stand by our results, but it is what it is. We're not participating in this anymore. We tested it. because they just tested it and sent it off. Kind of like pathologists just run through stuff. I have a couple friends that are pathologists. One's pediatric, so for him it's very mechanical, right? He's just kind of going through it. He's doing his job, because if he stops and think that this leukemia is going to an 8-year-old, this X is going to it'll weigh you down. And same thing with that. Like, they're moving so much stuff. Just focus on the test, get the results, move it on. Don't think about the results. It's not your end. So again, those are just two interesting cases that are easy for people to research for physical things. As far as Whitley's concerned, I don't know. I have no reason not to believe him. He runs with an interesting crowd. And the message of his book is, I couldn't really tell you, because he loves to pontificate.
Yeah, that got me as well, because he kept talking about how open he was to different ideas of what this is, and how he's not sold. But then he'd say that, and then again double down on the fact that the Space Brothers are here to help us, double down on the fact that they're worried that we're going to destroy the planet, and double down that the government is the ones that will come and save us with this. They're going to give us the knowledge. I find that so weird. Like, if you just going back to if he believes what he says, and I tend to agree with you. Like I think something happened, because it's like, I know someone like I think Mr. Squatch said it somewhere in the comments up here. I can't remember. Sorry, it's disappeared amongst all the other comments. But I know someone said it, because I picked up someone saying that he was just like a mediocre horror writer before Communion, and that very well might be. But the idea that you could wake up one morning and go, what I could do to sell books is I could pretend I was abducted. I could rope another family into this, so they can like confirm it for me.
That's right. There's other people involved in this who back up
and then I'll write a hit book. Like the boxes that have to be ticked for that plan to work. Oh,
and it has an author. He's still a very mediocre writer. I mean, I'm a mediocre writer, so I can definitely spot that. Just I'm a professional and mediocre writer, being one myself. He's very high-handed and random. Like, you could tell that he clearly took a break for writing and then came back, and he has this high-handed ideology of.
He's very preachy. Very
super. At the same time, he's like, I don't know what it is. It could be anything. I'm open to it. And then he'll shit on every other thing that's not his idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, that's normal human condition stuff. Like, that's just what people do.
It's just pick a lane, though, isn't it? It's, if you want to write a book telling me what you think this is, then just write a book telling me what you think it is. Don't write a book and not, because it's almost like he doesn't quite have the courage of his own convictions.
No, he doesn't.
So. Yeah, I find that quite weird with him. The level of brutality as well. That
you mean romance?
Yeah, that go into that, and he still talks about this thing as fondly as a fond experience. That's really quite strange, because at one point in the book he says. I can't remember whether it was him or it was another abductee. They said the alien said to him, "Don't worry, we won't hurt you." Then started doing butt stuff with him.
Yep.
And then the next line was the alien act was surprised at the fact he was hurt, almost like it didn't understand pain. And you go, well, if it didn't understand pain, why did it say, "I won't hurt you" in the first place?
Another thing is, like, he'll also talk about the compassion and love and empathy. Like, he says it, and man, it's just crazy. Like,
And yeah,
honestly, read the book, don't audible the book,
yeah.
because he's the one doing the audible, and it will just
it
makes it worse.
I think you're right. Usually I prefer it when authors read their own books, but
Me
yeah,
too,
this is
not this one.
Not a good move.
No, this is not the one.
But yeah, but like talking about these things that like in such warm manner as well, and like let's be perfectly honest, they didn't even give him a courtesy lick.
Nope.
No, that was dry.
No, they raw dogged him, man, to the point that it never healed right. And he talks about it multiple times. You're gonna hear about it. You're gonna know about it. You will be able to smell it, taste it, and see it by the end of it. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. He describes it to a point that you should have stopped a long time ago.
Right.
And he loves to say sexual material, not genetic material, not fluid, not they took my genetic material. That is the scientific way to say it. They took my genetic material. He doesn't say that ever.
I know somebody that, let's say, that has been in an industry where people have had to come in various states. This person has come across somebody that had accidentally inserted an apple into themselves. That
I'm honestly, I'm just impressed.
Was in the middle of had two people that were in the middle of being dog locked together, and somebody else that had on a Burns night. This is not quite sexual, but still funny. Had is it a sporran? If so, I think Stu was in the comments before. He might help me out here because I can't remember what the knife's called. That's in the sock of like Scott's dress. But anyway, during giving it a Highland fling, and being a proud Scotsman, the guy didn't have any underwear on, and he cut his own ball sack open. As in, like, split it open so his balls were hanging on the outside of his body, like he filleted his ball sack. We've
all been there, man. We've all been there, you know.
He's like, I haven't really seen the name before. Carlos Skywalker has just come in, and
I'm sorry, Carl.
What a time! What a time to come into this. I
apologize.
Promise,
this is your first show.
We have been talking about aliens, and we have been talking about abduction.
Have we? Is that what we've been talking about?
Yeah. But what
that's what Whitley was talking about.
Maybe it was just an excuse. Like maybe what happened to Whitley that involved the tearing. It was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to explain this damage? He said, I'm going to say it was aliens.
Couple swinger party gone sideways.
Yeah.
Literally.
Next thing is, I mean, he was a swimming pool away from being Barrymore. You won't know. You won't get that unless you're British, probably. No.
I don't know that I want to know by context.
A Brit that listens to this will think that was fucking hilarious, or sickening, one of the two, or upsetting if it was the guy's parents.
This is the end of Ollie's channel. Glad I was here for it.
See, he gets it. Yeah, but as far as the lying to sell books, I don't buy that he was just lying to sell books. Because
no, I don't either.
It's too many jumps. Like there's, you couldn't guarantee it, and it could be. You've like someone said, he's a mediocre writer, but at least he was a mediocre writer making a living from being a writer. That's difficult anyway. Yeah. To pull the fake alien abduction maneuver and write a book about it, he could have destroyed everything he'd worked all his life for.
Yes. So this is like we're 35 minutes in almost. So the algorithm hopefully will stop checking at this point, right? The people he runs with.
Right? Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Can you hear that noise? That was Ollie's asshole tightening.
The people he runs with, Like so when you read or if you watch anything, this guy, he's someone who doesn't believe in God, and that's your preference, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not someone who religion, faith, all that, they hold no sway to him. He's way climate change kind of guy. He's all that. He's all what the progressive modern idealism of these things would be. And that's fine. Whatever, that's his prerogative. I don't give a shit. The people he run with, on the other hand, that he has connections to and have connections to him and take him seriously and take him in, are people like Clinton's, Podesta's, several others. All people that through email leaks we have found out are big fans of a cult, huge fans of a cult, who take that shit seriously. Now, he doesn't have a problem with that.
I did actually have, because it was one of those things that I might have noticed. I did actually have a little look that just before we started the show to see if he'd happened to be on like certain island lists, and he hadn't been on an island list.
Oh, he's not that important. They don't need to blackmail a willing participant.
No, that's
he's there for the show, man.
He was there, but he was entertainment. You don't add the juggler to the guest list. But I agree. Like, it was the same with James Fox's interview with Joe Rogan when he started bringing the Podesta link up and the Clinton link, and I get more uncomfortable when people are referring to Hillary Clinton as she was being lined up to be the disclosure president. And you go, I mean...
Well, and if you sign up for Rockfin, you'll get to know what we really think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my takeaway from the Whitley thing and some of these other people that are out there, like the Patient 17 guy and, what's his name? I just said it. I forget it. They made the documentary about him. He's serving time for little kid photos that were on his computer that shouldn't have been there. Stan Romanek. So you got Stan, you got Whitley, and then you got the Patient 17 guy, and you have other people, right? There's other people that are credible. What I think is interesting, and Patient 17 guy was very normal. Like, he's a construction worker. He's like, I've been having night terrors. I think it's just night terrors, but it was enough to make him go down this hole and get this thing removed from his knee. And it was there, and it is a piece of material that, whatever. It wasn't encapsulated in inflammation. It seemed to, and they're like, well, he's in the trades. It could have been a nail. Okay, well, let's get it, get the metallurgy. Let's get it tested. And there's 52 different alloys comprised at a stacking layer. And there's, isotopes on there that aren't found anywhere outside of artificial creation that would never be used in making a nail. And then it's a different conversation.
So anyone that's done anything with their hands, like building wise, and
things happen. Yeah.
If you get something in yourself, like you say, the
inflammation surrounds it.
The area swells. It's horrible. It's horrible if you get something stuck in your finger or
it's hot, asshole. Burns in it. Yeah. To the point that you can squeeze it in the pus will shoot it out, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not pus. Sometimes it's full on man fluid. But you
mean sexual material?
Sexual material.
If he that has to be the most said word in his book.
Sexual material was said a lot. Yeah.
A lot. Every chapter, multiple times every chapter.
I just got thrown. The amount of times I thought I'd skipped back a chapter.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, it really did. It really did hinder my
interest.
Yeah. But trying to remember, like, because I'm not a big one for notes. I've always kind of been. I always think it kind of fucks me if I do notes. I've got to do things kind of off the dome.
Yeah.
It really hindered my ability to absorb what was going on, because I constantly felt like I'd fucked up. I mean, I'd bought the book, But the apart from that, I mean, sorry, do you know what? I shouldn't keep shitting on the book because I think
I recommend it.
Of people. Yeah, there's a load of people.
I recommend it. You just read it. Don't listen to it.
But the thing is,
good
I
stuff.
can't understand
sexual material.
The
Tornadoes,
which is my new punk band.
Tornadoes is a metal band if I've ever heard a metal band name. Ripped anus.
Someone said the other day in the chat like it was a super heavy material. I thought I want that to be like a big filthy riffy band I'm in, like one where I only use like 28-inch cymbals. But I can't understand how he got to the conclusions he got to. It was like as far as the Space Brothers and they're here to help and they're here to do this, and you go, I mean, fuck me, man. You know that's like pigs being more intelligent and worshiping the farmer.
Gustav says we should just OnlyFans this and get it over with. Why do you think they're coming out, Gustav? Got to be in person to film that kind of action. Yeah, man. It's the thing is, do I recommend the book? Absolutely. I recommend you read the book. Do not listen to the book.
Maybe it's just because where I am on this, but I was when I listened to the way he talked about it and the way he talked about the other people's experience, sexual material. I can't understand how you don't, because I know he kind of dipped his dick into the demon side.
I got to be honest, he didn't dip his dick into anything. He was the inkwell.
Yeah, he was.
He's the inkwell. He's not the quill. He's the inkwell. Let's be clear on this. He sure shit is very clear that he is the well.
Yeah, he had to be refilled multiple times.
All the time.
Yeah. But the thing is when he started talking about the demon side of it, is how he doesn't like discount the idea of that they're demons.
But he did,
and then he discounted it.
And then he immediately discounts it. And then talks about how this is not it. Yeah.
But it really sounds it. It really, like, when you look and you hear those stories, it really sounds demonic.
And not only that, the letters he chose sound demonic.
Yeah.
Like the possession, the walkers, the free walkers, that they can just kind of come in and like try and remove your soul to put theirs in and then write like, and then he's going through all these things and all these accounts and he's like, well, this isn't demonic. This is the love that they have for our environment. And it's like, what are you talking about right now, man?
You've just told me that they were trying to remove somebody's soul.
Yeah. No, but it's love. Did they ram it in your ass until you bled? Absolutely. Yeah. You know how I know that is because you said it in 30 different chapters in vivid detail. Vivid detail. You and I got different views of what love is, man. I don't know what happened to you to make you this way.
Whitley definitely thinks like spitting in the mouth is love. But
he thinks, I got to be serious. Like, this would be the kind of guy that if you stripped him naked, chained him in a yard, and beat him with a whip, he'd be like, no, it was a great date. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they're a compassionate person. Like, you're in the hospital. Like, you know, it's like going to someone's house and dude's wailing on the lady, and he's like, you know, you're gonna get hit one time too hard. Like, you need to leave right now. No. You know, he just had a hard day. Like, this is how he shows his love. Like, what? Whoa. He's in that vein.
That's so the soul thing. I knew I wanted to bring that up because that was the point I messaged you because at that point of the book I was enjoying it. You know, I
sexual material. I know you were. Yeah. But I mean, by that point, you've only heard the rectal situation 40, 50 times, right?
Like, it was 8 hours, wasn't it? I think the book was about 8 hours.
Longest 8 hours of any book you will listen to. I do not recommend listening to that book. Read the book. Don't listen.
But like 2 hours 2 hours. I enjoyed the first couple of hours.
Like, cumulatively, like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there.
Yeah, tantric.
He doesn't know what that means.
But the soul thing, when that popped up, that was when I messaged you and said, "This is right down our street for talking like this." And then it kind of fell apart a little bit from where I thought it was going, because I did at the beginning of that book, I really did think he was going to go down the route of interdimensional demons, essentially.
That's not what he thinks. That's what the John D'Souza guy thinks.
Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks, man.
But yeah, I'm just not sure. Like the
proctologist, the torn prostate, and that he still feels it every day. Like, why? What? And the thing is, like, you guys think I keep bringing up. If you read this book, he brings it up all the time.
It's so strange. It's such a the sort of sexual.
So this speaks to that point.
Submission to it is.
Oh, he's a power bottom.
Part. Yeah,
he's a power bottom.
Yeah,
like you be doing damage, and he just harder. You know. So anyway, the MUFON guys that I talked to, they said that he got a story, and I think I've told it on here before, where he'd moved to LA out of Knoxville, and or when he was in LA before he came to Knoxville, he went to his apartment, and the aliens were in his apartment, like looking through his refrigerator and walking around. They knew where he lived. They just apparently didn't know what time he got home. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And they're like, no. And then it got sexual. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it got weird and people were uncomfortable. And then I was like, wow, that's, everybody in this room is a little nuts. And so I was kind of amazed by that. And then now listening to this book, I was like, oh my God, I get it. I bet it was bad in person. But at the same time, he talks about interesting things no one is talking about. Like the instances over Oak Ridge.
But the question is, I wonder if he was like this before it.
See, that's something I was going to say for later, but it relates to. So 2% of the population, when it comes to psychedelics, are hypersensitive, unbelievably sensitive. And I would venture a guess you could take those same 2% and they would be the ones people would call empathic, sensitive, use the moniker psychic, which I don't really believe in, but I understand why people would use it. A couple of those people were at the thing I was at last night, and I would absolutely use those titles for them. When you guys come out, you can meet them, hopefully. Cool. But those are the same people. Like if you give them, I don't know, like a gram or two of psilocybin, they're going to have an out-of-body, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional type experience that is beyond their control. And verges on maybe psychosis, like whereas everyone else would be like, "Oh, I'm kind of giggly," you know what I mean, and roll on. It's just a sensitivity. It's some sensitivity that they have, some biological wiring, whatever it is. Same people that I've kind of figured out. Like you hear people talk about if they have lucid or vivid dreams regularly. Night terror sufferers in that same vein. You'll find that. I think those percentages probably work out right to 2-ish% of the population. So it's interesting. And I think Whitley's definitely one of those two. So if he is whatever he is, he's a beacon and he's on a weird side of some game we don't understand. But again, he does bring up good things. The Oak Ridge thing, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where they nuclear fissionable material. There's actually multiple government labs. There's the Oak Ridge National Labs. There's the Y-12 facility. There's the K-38. There's a couple others. And then there's super secret ones no one talks about that are hidden behind, all kinds of stuff that no one knows what goes on.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the United States Air Force engaging objects over that facility, which is fact. They did do that. Like they do have plans for that. It's interesting. He makes good points. He has good research. He just likes to say sexual material a lot. He loves to talk about what happened to his back door. A lot. He likes to talk about the Podestas. didn't mention their taste in art or religious beliefs or their rituals, which you need to tune into Rockfin for.
We are definitely going to do a show on that art.
Yeah, make sure we tell everyone that we are happy, well-adjusted with our lives. We have a lot going for us and to live for.
I do not intend an early checkout.
Yeah. And at no time will we be talking about Bill Gates or Jared Kushner.
They are lovely.
They are wonderful people from what I hear. And Jared's a handsome man. Handsome man. Problems I don't want, man.
Yeah. I for one wish Bill Gates all the best,
health and happiness, man.
Health and happiness, and best of luck in his new endeavor in farming,
ruling the world or whatever the hell it is he's doing. You do you, bro. Good for you. Have at it.
Yeah, I love Windows.
Don't love them enough that I want to jump out of one. For the record, I'm a happy person.
That's one for the clips. Tag that.
Dudes with unlimited funds and very sensitive egos are not people you want to fuck around with.
No. Especially ones that appear to have been bullied like for the majority of their childhood.
I mean, what is the old joke? Bill Gates spent a lot of time in a locker with his underwear shoved up his ants. You know what I mean? Before he decided, I'm going to take over the world of computers. You'll see. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't come out of a whim. Like it's a distinct drive.
I think I said on Friday's show, didn't I? We got talking about this sort of stuff, and Bill Gates was the only person that that John McAfee wouldn't talk shit about.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to jump out of a window either.
Yeah, but John McAfee is fucking crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, dude, I loved that guy.
I do not believe he's dead for 1 second.
I would have loved to party with him, man. I would, and just for an instance to try and survive the evening.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to keep pace. I just need to make it through alive. It'd be awesome.
I don't think I would have survived. I really don't.
Shit, I would have tried. Yeah, I could do it. One night I could make that. One night, no problem. What are we, hunting homeless people? Sure, let's do this. Whatever, I'm here, man. Let's see where this goes. You know.
Oh, if anyone hasn't watched I know Netflix documentaries aren't known for their quality when it comes to like murky subjects like Epstein's documentary. You know, there was more missing than was in that. The documentary about John McAfee and the interview he did with Vice before Vice went into administration, didn't it? Fucking shame that. But when they were actually good, and they had actual journalists, it's just insane. Like it's fucking crazy, and it's probably the best thing on Netflix you can possibly watch.
So someone put in the chat, it's like alien sex chat show. And then Gustav puts light candles, puts on Marvin. Let's get it on. Light spliff and sits down with sexual material.
This show's gonna be alien sex addict by the end of this.
More like victim. Bro, it's like there interesting stuff in the book? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Do I recommend you read it? Yes. Do I recommend you listen to it? No, you do not want that guy whispering in your ear, man. It is uncomfortable. His whole voice and tone is uncomfortable.
I think if someone would have turned around to me at first and said, "You haven't skipped chapters," I'd have enjoyed it a lot more, because that really, really got to me. But on the abduction thing of a whole, I wanted to go back to like Stan Romanek for a split second. And the like I don't know. The guy looked fucking weird. He came across as a weirdo. It wouldn't surprise me if there was stuff on his computer that shouldn't be there. But man, like, can you imagine how shit it would be if something happened to you and they wanted to shut you up? So stuff was planted on your laptop anyway.
See, the thing, and I've actually watched a lot of stuff about that particular guy because I was curious about that as well. Because some of the alleged encounters he had, and he's got witnesses. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, he's got all these other people who will stand up for this guy, and at the same time, my initial instinct to this guy is to burn him with fire. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm gonna frag the room he's in. You know what I mean? Then I'm gonna burn it to the ground because something about you I don't like. So I looked into that, and there is interesting things. Like when they found the material on his computer, it was on like a cursory search that they got a warrant to go get it. It was at a computer repair shop. Like they didn't see any of that stuff on there. Only it was found when it was taken to the holding. The detective involved in that is mired in crooked work and investigations. It looks like the government railed him through. But at the same time, I watched the interview with him when they were talking about the alien in the kitchen video that he did, right? And people like that. Not the one in the window, the one at the kitchen. But like it looks very fake. And the question is, why were you walking around your house with your camera? And he says, well, my stepson was there and his friends were, there. And I thought they were, doing something silly or running around, and I could get and he said, I thought I could film him and then, blackmail him with it. And I was like, what'd you just say? That's weird, man. That's weird. That's a weird thing to say. It doesn't track. I mean, I'm a father. It doesn't track. It's what? You're trying to film your stepkid and his friends running around the house doing whatever so you can blackmail him with it? It's uncomfortable. It's weird, but again, he's just a weird dude. Whatever.
I think I found the video here from the kitchen. It's,
bum bum bum. We can play the other one too. I mean, it's interesting. He's an interesting cat. I would prefer not to play too much of Whitley Strieber because he creeps me out more than Stan does.
No, I can only find the other one.
Could you imagine being stuck in a room with those two guys?
No. Yeah, I've only found it on like an old news report. I can only find that one, the one we looked at before. Yep. If someone can smart me up here, because
it's in the documentary. It's the world has gotten very good at covering that kind of stuff up.
I mean, essentially, like this is. I mean, it's perfect for the. Someone starts taking the piss out in the end of this video, but all you get now is like the scandal of Romanak. You don't get the like the conspiracy theory anymore.
Yeah, it's the empty Google, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Things as the various governments, and not even governments, like the corporate entities' powers get better and better. They totally can curtail what we watch. They can control it. They can feed it to us.
So if I'm wrong here, and this isn't the Stan Romanak video, then please somebody tell me.
No, I believe that's one of them. That's one of them.
I think it is. It's the one.
Yeah.
See, like I always found this really weird, and because I mean it looks bizarre, but the blinking, it's 14 years ago as well. Stan Romanak does not seem to me like the guy that could fucking
be a puppeteer.
Be a puppeteer, or even like do the CGI bit. Well,
it's supposedly not CGI. Supposedly it is a guy in a mask or a puppet, I believe, on like a stick. But I've never seen that alien like in the mouth.
I can get it.
Did you see that?
I just find I mean, people know see someone putting this. It's quite funny. But that's awesome. That's what it would look like if I did it.
Definitely.
But yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what we should do?
What?
We should definitely put a link in the chat to see if anyone has anything they want to say about alien abductions.
Yes.
Not on Twitter, but on here. Because I mean, I don't know what there's more to say about Whitley other than yes, read the book. There's interesting information. The letters are interesting from other people. I wouldn't listen to the Audible book because you don't want that guy whispering in your ear. You will feel dirty, and not in a good way. Yeah.
How many stars out of 5?
In all seriousness, maybe 3.5.
I'd give it 3.5. Yeah.
If he would have stopped the sexual material, I'd have given him 4.
Yeah. I think 3.5 tops at 3. 3 is probably more realistic from me, but it's again, if you're into the subject, I mean, it's Whitley Strieber writing a book about abductions.
Yeah,
so you can't get more part of the zeitgeist than that. But like to get off Strieber, because we've spent an hour talking about him pretty much. Like abductions in general.
Yeah, let's get some people on.
Yeah,
I bet somebody's had some butt stuff done in this room.
Ollie,
I'm sure he's in the chat. I wonder if his parents were watching this one. Specifically, I guarantee he's making sure they don't.
They watched the Friday show, and I kicked Friday's show off by saying that he was on a romantic getaway with his mother. So there you go.
I was talking about how hot his mom is, and he started sending me pictures of her. She's all smiling. I was like, no. I'm about it. I'll double down. I don't give a shit. You think I'll flinch?
Nobody. I mean, not Mrs. Like Oliver. Like she's a beautiful woman, but nobody wants to see their friends' mums like that.
Ollie's in the picture with her.
Oddly enough, I know one of my friends. I know he's had sex with one of his friends' mums. That's weird.
Nice.
But
does he make his friend call him daddy, or just his mom?
Everybody. I mean, it's high fives all around at that point, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, like the abduction thing for me is something I think I kind of pass it off a little bit. I don't know why. It's just never. It's never interested me as much. In the same as USOs never used to interest me as much as UFOs. I don't know why. It was just the thing. Then they became transmedium. Now they're all interesting. But it's always been something that I just think, I wonder how many people, regardless of whether it's real or not, how many people believe they're being abducted. I wonder how many people that have, let's say it's a psychological issue, right? I don't know if it is or not. So if we say it's a psychological issue, that means there's just as much chance as your baker having it as your fucking bank manager.
Correct.
So I wonder how many people are living their lives with this going on and just going, well, I can't talk about that at all.
I think the framing of it is wrong, because you're talking about what is believed to be like physical manifestations and snatch and grabs. Like one of the letters of the woman who got grabbed with her daughter in the desert, right? And then the daughter dies of a rare leukemia. Meanwhile, she gets back, her hair's falling out, her gums are bleeding, all obvious signs of heavy doses of radiation. And what was it in The Hunt for the Skinwalker that Jeremy Corbell did? He was talking to the natives who lived in the area, and they had all had various like sunburns, radiation burns, going through a plethora of things. It makes you wonder, maybe it's not all the same phenomenon. Maybe it's partly the phenomenon. Like it, I think the phenomenon is a good word to term it. But if you're looking for abductions, I would put in people who suffer from night terrors, vivid dreaming, lucid dreaming. I would put all of them in the same category as I would the radiation burn people.
Yeah.
Because there's clearly a certain percentage of the population that is far more interesting to, for whatever reason, than the rest. Right? That if we're looking at the accounts and taking that in, yeah. So we should see if anyone in the chat would like to tell us. Gustav put Stifler's mom.
Yeah,
I had a buddy growing up. His mom was hot. I dated her. What's that?
The chat's looking pretty quiet for fucking guests, I think.
We'll see. We can throw it out there. You never know. Someone could be watching and not talking.
But
have courage.
No.
Gotta have courage.
I was going to say something then. I forgot. Like, I used to have a reoccurring dream when I was a kid, and I would be like, I'd be in my bed, I'd fall asleep, and it was weird because my dream would start with me being asleep, and with me knowing I was going to sleep, and then I'd be in like this full on white room, like the Matrix, you know, where
loading room.
Yeah. And in the distance, like the middle distance, there was it sounds so fucking stupid, but it was terrifying. There was like a lion on a treadmill, and the lion would get this was like when I was 10, probably 8, 9, something like a young child. And it would just be me watching this lion on the treadmill. And he would be running and getting faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And the faster he got, the more pressure I could feel. Like the best way of putting it was I could feel the volume. Like I could feel sound. And he would get so fast, and this pressure feeling would get so horrible, I would wake up. But when I woke up, I would stay in this sort of lucid dream state, but I would feel like I was incredibly small. The same feeling that I got when I was watching the lion on the treadmill would be there. But I felt like I was incredibly small, and the rest of the room was fucking huge. Like I was lying in a football stadium sized bed. It was very strange, but I can understand, like, from the feelings I had from that dream. Subsequently, I've had it a few times, like in adulthood, but only when I've been like exceptionally sick or exceptionally high. It's been it's happened. Grazie, Mr. Squatch.
That's awesome, man. And he put, I think he's out. Well, I get it, man. I get it. The sexual material gets to us all. See you later, Squatch. That was awesome. That's so it's a reoccurring same thing.
Well, it was reoccurring. Yeah, when I was a kid, like it was like 2 or 3 times a week. When I was a kid, like it was like a full-on reoccurring dream. And then in adulthood, it kind of drifted away and disappeared. But I definitely, I don't know. I've got no theory of why dreams are important and what they are. I definitely believe dreams are more than just your brain filing things. My other good dream story isn't mine; it's my son's. He would, from before he could speak, he'd wake up, and he's been a really good sleeper. Like it's unbelievable how lucky I've been with my son. Like basically from the day I brought him home from hospital, he slept through every night. He's asleep upstairs right now, no bother whatsoever. And now and again, when he would have like a night terror when he was really little and he couldn't speak, you'd go in to get him, and you sort of wake up, it's like, it's okay, everything's fine. And he'd just look at you dead in the eyes and start doing this with his arm. And then it eventually got a couple of some sort of words together, and then the same thing. So this has now been going on for now and again over the course of a year and a half. And he'd give it the thing, and he'd be like, water, and then he'd get a few more words together, and he'd start doing this, and he started spinning his finger around. Still no words for it. So anyway, he's 4 now. This hasn't happened for maybe a year and a half. So it happened till say he was till when he was approaching 3. But to that point where he could actually have a conversation, you could hammer out what he's trying to explain to you. So it turned out he used to have a reoccurring dream about being on a boat heading towards rocks, and he couldn't turn. And the sea was rough. He couldn't turn the engine off, which was him trying to explain what a propeller was.
Mm-hmm.
And then he eventually had to jump off the boat just before the boat went into the side of the rocks that he was going. And he started having this dream before he could say hello, and before he understood what a boat was, before he even understood what water was. And then slowly, as he gained words, he could explain this dream he was having when he was like fucking 5 months old. It was fucking wild. I've never been one for the whole past life thing until this. I thought that's fucking crazy. But the things that makes it not like a past life story is obviously now he's approaching 6. He can speak properly, and when he was a little bit older, see, it stopped. The dream stopped being a nightmare from when he was we'll say 3. I might be out by a few months, but we'll say 3. But then I said to him, do you still, because like you don't want to lead him, but I was like, I do a fucking paranormal podcast. I want to fucking know what's going on here. Like, give me the content, bitch. And I asked him like whether he was still having it or not, and he said no, it's fine now. I was like, what do you mean it's fine? He said no, it's fine, and then just carried on with his day. I'm like, what do you mean it's fucking fine? And it turns out that, I mean, and for the record, my dad's not dead, but he said, oh no, the dream stopped being scary because Granddad's there now. And it's like he inserted my living father into this reoccurring dream that he's had since he was like born, very near. And now it stopped being a nightmare. And the boat stopped crashing when my living father got involved in it. Fucking weird.
What is it from True Detectives? The guy's like, time is a flat circle. It was a good show. At least the first
never watched
season
it.
was. True Detectives first season, very good.
Yeah,
it's very good, very interesting.
Is it paranormal?
Kinda not. It's weird. It's a great watch, I think. It's got Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Oh,
so yeah, right.
Awesome.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. They're great together. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll go in for a season of that. I've never watched it before.
Yeah, first one's good. Follow-up's not so great.
But,
yeah, man, that's wild, dude. Especially when it comes out of kids like that, it makes you...
It was the propeller that got me. I think even explaining that story there, I didn't sell. I didn't sell quite how weird it was. Him trying to explain what a propeller was before he knew what a propeller was, because that's the thing as well. For a kid that's his age, there is no reason for him to know what's under a boat. It seems like such a strange thing to say, but like boats literally are plastic toy things that go in the bath at this point. There is no reason for him to understand the mechanical mechanism of propulsion, right, for that vehicle. Yeah, it was really strange. Just quick shout out to Stu. I just got a message while I've been doing this show, and he is, I believe, currently beavering away at the Bob Lazar documentary for our fucking good channel.
Dude, he's great at that editing.
He's great. Yeah.
That little thing he snipped together, that was, I sent him a message like that.
He's been an absolute hero at the minute. Because he started clipping the episodes as well. So that's why you're getting lots of shorts come up with the episode. That's why TikTok has been getting so much fucking love. It's all down to your boy, Stu. The cartoon mouse, Stuart Little.
Yeah, he's on that. So Gustav has this. It makes you wonder, Lee, where does that construct then come from?
I know. I just saw that. Yeah.
I agree with that. I don't know, man. I got 4 kids. Kids are weird. Some are weirder than others. You know, my one daughter that talks to something that's not there, that comes around occasionally. It's got a name and everything. Talked her into leaving the house. And showed her how to, and she even said, baby Josie showed me how to open the door because the security locks that we have on our door. And people are like, well, maybe she saw you guys do it enough times. Maybe. She was pretty young, to disarm the system and kill. Like, this is a thought, and we have it all on camera. That was the thing. It was like, what? Yeah. But, good news, when you guys stay here, she rarely sleepwalks anymore with her hair down in her face as she mumbles going up and down the stairs and hallway.
Has she got long black hair as well?
Long blonde hair. It's like a dirty blonde, yeah.
At least she's not going to be walking around looking like the girl from The Ring.
Sometimes she walks around on all fours, yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
Only when she's going up the wall, though, We've told her no more ceilings. Right, high ceilings in my house, very hard to paint. I'm not getting fucking fingerprints and footprints off 12-foot ceilings. We're not doing that. All right, you stay here where we can reach. Not breaking out the big ladders just for you.
I was going to say something that you've completely fucking thrown me.
My kids are pretty creepy though. Like 1 or 2 of them, especially. It's just like that's unnerving.
It does make you wonder. It does make you wonder, though, doesn't it? Whether there's something we lose. The like people always talk about it's just creativity of play. Like where does that come from? You
see, you would think that until you're sitting down and you're like, all right, well, you having a good time, and she'll look around the room. It's like, oh yeah, well, they all left when you came in, but maybe they'll come back later and play with me. So what? The little boys we picked up. You mean the ones that drown? You mean the ones
John and Tony Podesta?
No, you mean the ones that drown in the flood in 1933, the Boy Scout troop? Those boys, and starts popping off with names. You're like, this just got weird.
See, it's weird because I don't not believe those stories. So put that first. But I don't believe I don't believe we've got the ability to stay here after we die. I think it will be totally beyond us. Yeah. I don't know what this shit is, but I don't think we can stay here. There's too many people. Think of it this way, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my dad have got such a fucking good relationship. It's great. I fucking dread the day something happens to that man. But when it does, he's not going to get the chance to haunt me. And I know, just as any other father would probably do the same thing. If that fucking big shiny light came, but you had the opportunity to stay with your child, you would fucking do it. Even if all you could do was watch, you would fucking stay. So you felt close.
Insanity right there, man.
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably,
I don't think there's a choice involved. I'm there.
No, I
don't
don't
think there's a choice involved.
I think we have about as much choice as a like as a caterpillar becoming a butterfly.
I lean more towards things that pretend to be other things. Like, have you heard of the Philip experiment in Canada?
There's been a Philip experiment over here with Philip Schofield, and that seems to be over.
I'm not following that.
It's very on brand, but carry on.
Yeah. So they a group of researchers, psychologists, parapsychologists, whatever, academics, they imagined a ghost. They gave him a backstory, gave him a name of Philip, blah, 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 blah. And then they started trying to make contact through EVPs and, spirit board sessions, things like that. And then they started making contact. They started getting EVPs from someone named Philip, who was totally inhabiting the role of a character that was totally fictitious, that was not real. Google, check it out. It's very interesting, but it feels something like, so when we go to the hospital and these other places, so when you rent out a place like that for yourself, they have people there that are like the caretakers, or they're volunteers, or they're part of the organization that owns it. And they'll give you the tour, and they can't help themselves, but they give you all the, this is the name of this nurse and that nurse. And they have all these backstories. And one of the things, like, me and my friends would say, how the hell do you know that? You have no idea. You have no idea. If I went up to some random person in the street and said my name was Bob, or I go on a YouTube thing and say my name's David, how do you know that? Because I said it? Or maybe I overhear you talking about someone and I suddenly decide to inhabit that role. That's just good field craft right there. You know what I mean? So how do we know what these things hear and what they don't hear and what they inhabit? And one of the tacks we always take is that everything you hear when, like, EVPs or anything, it's a lie. It's a manipulation. And when you take that tact, you'll notice a change in the responses that you get. Yeah, it's interesting. People are like, well, you're manifesting it. And you're like, are you? Or is something else that's there trying to get to you by pretending to be like whatever you want it to be, to make you friendly, to let you invite it in? That's what it wants. So it's, I don't know. It's interesting. You'll see when we go to the place, dude. I've never been there and think crazy things haven't happened. So if we're able to get the dates, but
it would make sense why the like the nice like spirits people come in contact with are always children or female. It's because I think that would be a good way in. Yeah, because you've got if you look at a hierarchy of danger, they're lower on the danger scale. But Fred's in the chat.
Yeah, I just noticed that. See, you need to put out the link, man. Get her on here. Get some quality.
What?
Quality content.
Would you like to come on, Orphan Red? If you let me know if you want to come on to say hello.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I think you're wrong. If you would like the,
she says she thinks we're not wrong.
I think you're not wrong. If you would like the link, I can send you the link.
She'd love to, but she can't today. Well, that's all right.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the hospital thing is interesting. My buddy's house is interesting. There's some buildings we have access to. The one used to be the old mortuary for a long time. Before the hospital actually had facilities to take in bodies. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things, like doing various experiments, you put someone with a spirit box, you isolate them in one room, you bring a group of people down to another thing, and then you have that group of people ask questions while the other person's isolated. All they can hear is what's going on, and they call out whatever words they hear. It's very interesting, and we got interesting responses. Interesting EMF. And the neat thing about the hospital is that they've shut power off to everything, right? There's very limited areas where there is electricity, and they have them marked and denoted that, hey, there's power here. There's a camera here. So that just for, insurance safety purposes. And so you can go to areas where none of that is. And when you start getting EMF spikes, everyone's cell phones are off, everything's put away. That doesn't make sense. And if anyone joins us on Rockfin, we can explain. I'll happily explain some of the other theories that me and my buddies have been playing with. But there's a reason we use the particular equipment we do. Like, it's not. We have, and I actually have some of so Max, who was on the show, my NASA buddy, and one of his other NASA buddies, they've been going through some of my ghost hunting equipment and fixing some things, revamping some things, getting ideas to do other things. So we'll see what comes of that. That's the goal. One of the things I think they're excited about is potentially patentable, but and it's based on some physics that I honestly don't really understand. But when you guys come out, it'll be interesting. I need to go pick up all that gear from them. We even have a kinetics camera hooked to a tablet, a handheld one. You can look around and it fires the IR beams that put the people together. Yeah.
It makes you wonder, actually, like keeping this, because I did think that the a conversation about abductions would go this way. It does make you wonder when you were saying before about these things maybe not being what they say they are and just saying what you want them to be. That could also explain the abduction phenomena, because if you were trying to get into something, mm-hmm. and that person, I know I know the stories about the like people that are abducted always starts with, I was never really into UFOs, but I'm kind of don't buy that sometimes. I think people might just say that sometimes, so it doesn't. Because they worry that they're going to be like labeled as making something mm-hmm. up. Because realistically, if you're between 40 and 50, you grew up in prime time, fucking X-Files territory. That means there's a 90% chance that you were into this fucking shit at one point, because everybody watched the X-Files back then. Mm-hmm. It's in the same ways when you listen to people talk about flat Earth. Every flat earther, and this don't come at me off and red, not slagging flat earthers off, but every flat Earth documentary you hear, it starts with the person going, "I got into this because I wanted to debunk it," and I go, "No, you didn't. You got into this because you were curious, and you started looking at things because you were curious." You didn't. I just find that really fucking weird. How every one of them says, and then I couldn't debunk it, and then I went, yeah, it's flat. But it makes you wonder whether the abduction phenomena comes from the entity knowing that this person wants some sort of closure on the idea of the. On the UFO phenomena, on the alien phenomena.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that you frame it that way. So Graham Hancock has a book, Supernatural. It's very good. It talks a lot about psychedelics. It talks a lot about various encounters throughout history, like with fairy folks, some of which are on the Isle of Man.
We have a rich history of fairies.
Yeah, and he has some of the accounts of them, like carriages and horses coming to collect people to take them to the jail. A lot like what Whitley is talking about. Like they're collecting, fucking I hate to say, sexual material to make their little clones, and or whatever it is they're doing, whatever they're collecting, whatever is going on.
My granddad had a fairy story.
Yeah.
He and he went to his grave with this.
I didn't know they had those kind of bars back then.
Yeah, it was frowned upon. He said sexual material a lot as well. But,
oh, this isn't the right place for your therapy, my friend. But it will be on Rockfin.
We have I'm sure if you know about fairies in the Isle of Man, you'll know that we have a place called Fairy Bridge over here. And like I've known ever since I'm 40 years of age, I've known fully grown adults my entire life, myself included, because I even kind of do it myself. When you go over Fairy Bridge, you say hello to the fairies as you go over the bridge. That is just if you grew up on the Isle of Man, if you don't do it, you fucking think it. And the superstition was that if you don't say hello to the fairies going over the ferry bridge, that something bad will happen to you. That's the pretense of it.
The description of fairies, they're malicious.
Oh yeah. No. These were not nice. These are pricks.
I mean, that's the history of fairies. And when you look at like the supernatural, it does fit like that. The Whitley Strieber that they're all love and light. Okay, I get what you're saying, but the story you just told me has nothing to do with love and light. It has to do with a torn anus and sexual material that you had no choice in. That this was not something that you wanted. You stated multiple times, and that they did not care. But it's still love and light and compassion. I feel like I've heard this from domestic abuse victims. Like. This isn't a track, man. And someone asked, what does Whitley think they are? Because he's changed his mind. In this book, he's very into climate change.
That's jarring.
And that they're way into love and light, and that Podesta and Hillary Clinton are awesome people and who can bring us into a world of disclosure. I don't know. That's kind of what I took away. In this book, he's really just talking about other people's experiences and letters, which makes for every one letter is 2 chapters.
Hammer. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Exactly. Orphan, we're talking about Whitley Strieber's new book, Them. Orphan, read the book. Do not listen to the Audible. I do not recommend the Audible because Whitley does it himself, and his voice is the kind of thing that is banned within 500 yards of a school. And rightfully so. And he says sexual material. In the way he says it, he enjoys saying it.
Yeah, I got that. He did.
He enjoys it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would have read it. I wish I would have just read it because it would have been much faster and it would have been over. It wouldn't have been 8 hours of just like, why did I do this to myself? But I was like, I'm not buying it a second time. I regret this first purchase.
Yeah, my granddad's story about the fairy thing was you bearing in mind you're talking, oh Christ, kind of died when he was 80. So you mid 40s, I'm gonna say, not his mid 40s, mid 1940s. He used to wear fairy bridges. Because you'll love this where he used to live at this to go with your thing of feeling that
I'm not feeling anything.
No, thinking that I live in fucking Narnia. He lived in Castletown at the time.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. Because that's a normal name. Sure. Everyone has one of those.
It's called Castletown because it's got a medieval castle in the middle.
Of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. Absolutely it does. See, the thing is, after you guys come out, my plan is in time to go see you guys. And then I can see Narnia for myself.
You'll enjoy it. I genuinely think you'll enjoy the Isle of Man. I'd have to brush up on the like Manx Celtic history because I think you'd want to go and see some of the stone circles and stuff like that I've fucking no idea where they are.
And if your country will let me, maybe I could import some of my gear. Some of it is not allowed to be exported out of the United States. So, yeah. And when you come out here, you'll see why. You'll be like, shit, this is awesome. Yes, it is.
So, Grandpappy, he used to the ferry bridge is walking distance from Castletown, and he used to poach salmon in the river that's at Ferry Bridge. So he'd go like early in the morning, close the river off with a big net, catch himself a load of salmon, stick them in a bag, and go and go home, just like some sort of Enid Blyton novel. And he was down there poaching salmon. And he said he saw all he referred to it was a little person. He said, I just saw a little person there. And he said I'm not sure why, but because he used to have like a tarp sack for his for poaching salmon. And he threw the bag over it to try and catch it. And then when he took the bag off, it was just a perfectly scorched circle in the grass.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He said like my mum said he took her to see the burnt circle when she was when she was a child, and it's now so much time's passed. Even my mother doesn't know whether it's a memory or a memory of something that she made up because it was a story that Grandad used to tell her. But but essentially that was the story, that he tried to catch this little person in a bag, and it just left like a scorched circle on the grass that stayed there for ages. I remember that as being something that I was told when I was younger, that it was it stayed burnt because he would constantly go back down there to poach salmon. It stayed poached for a long time.
Moody says, "Why do I willingly accept Lee knows a salmon poacher?" I also like says Dave does UK in a kilt. Well, I mean, isn't that cultural appropriation? I'm not Scottish.
It's cultural appropriation. There is actually a Manx tartan as well for my island. So I'm
a mutt. I'm an American mutt.
Yeah, oh, you should wear a fucking Star-Spangled Banner
kilt. They have them. Yeah, they have
them.
That way everyone knows I'm American.
America.
Yeah. I just like not like my mannerisms and accent won't give that away immediately.
That's America with a fucking silent A.
Yeah.
And a hard M.
Oh, it'd be hard, all right. Yeah. Oh man, no, I do want to. I'll make that happen. That's not it's just a scheduling thing for me.
I do know a roof thatcher. I do.
Of course, he lives in Narnia. That's where everything is. Ask him if he knows where the unicorns play. It's a fucking yes.
Not only do I know a roof thatcher, I've had to whitewash the outside of thatched houses before, because the laws on what you can and can't do on buildings that age are really strict.
Oh,
so you see, if a decorator like I am, you have to do them like it would have been done fucking 140 years ago. Whitewash. I found something fucking amazing about that the other day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like you would find something that amazing. Whitewash was invented to paint the buildings at the World's Fairs.
Was it?
Yeah. And especially when you consider what we consider the term whitewashing to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
does
if
it
I'm
burn
wrong,
really well and we don't know that or something?
Well, it burns what's underneath it really well.
Does it?
Yeah, because it's lime in it. So you put it on, it will fucking burn away what's like what if there's other painting stuff on top of it. Yeah, if I'm wrong about whitewash, fucking sue me. But that's what I heard, and that's what I read.
Do you know anyone that can? Well, see, you can't give him shit about that. Does he know anyone that can, shoe a horse? I know people who can shoe a horse in 5 minutes flat.
Yeah, loads of people.
There's a lot of horses in the South.
I could probably have a reasonable go at shooting a horse myself, probably.
I don't ride horses. I've never ridden a horse. I like horses. They seem to like me. I do not ride them. No part of it. I love going to. One of the things I really wanted to do is when you guys come out, I wanted to take you to a rodeo, but there's none in the area at the time you're here. There's some before and some after, but not at the time. That's within reasonable driving distance. And reasonable driving distance in the United States is pretty damn far. I was like, if it's within 8 hours, we're going to see this rodeo. Nope. It's like,
I was upset the other day. Because I had, for the last 4 days, I've had to drive for 40 minutes to work. I like literally, it's destroying my life. My life.
I drive farther than that to go to the grocery store. I drive 100 miles a day taking my kids to school. Yeah. You're going to be blown away when you get here and realize like we're still driving. Yeah. Oh, you know where you live? Nope. It's like, you guys, we're going to go to Nashville. Yeah, we are. Yeah, sure. Sit in that seat for a while there, sugar pie. It's going to be a few hours.
I like road trips. I like traveling. It's all part of the adventure. For you, it's just a long commute, but for me, it'll be an adventure.
Yeah, for you guys, it'll be an adventure. I'm curious to see how much of that is able to make it back. The shooting range with you guys will be fun, but I don't think we can put any of that to YouTube. They're not gun friendly.
No. Is there a tin diner on the way there?
A tin diner?
Yeah, you know, like those metal diners that are just on the side of the road that look like they're fucking caravans.
Those aren't real.
Oh, don't say that.
If you're going to find them anywhere, you're going to find them in the West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we're not driving 4 days. So you can and when I mean drive 4 days, I don't mean drive for 8 hours. I mean we drive 4 days in shifts.
4 days for bad scrambled eggs.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We'll just take you to a Waffle House, and you can have food that will make you shit your pants, and you can watch a waitress stab a customer or a customer stab and fight an employee.
Oh, it sounds great. See, that's what I want. That's all I want. Yeah.
Don't go to the Waffle House without your gun. Why? It's Waffle House.
All right.
Kid Rock. I can take you to the one in Nashville where Kid Rock threw a guy out a window twice, 2 separate occasions, 2 different dudes.
How fucking bizarre must it be? And like this was something Britch used to bring up quite a lot when he used to come on the channel, and some people just fit the roles they are. Kid Rock is one of those people. Like if you look at him and if you'd never heard of who Kid Rock is, if he was just stood in like the corner of a bar somewhere and you said, "Oh, his name's Kid Rock," and he's a massive fucking country like rock star, you'd look at him and go, "Oh, that's Kid. Yeah, okay, yeah, Kid Rock. I get it."
The thing I love most about Kid Rock is that he's from an upper middle class family in Michigan, right?
Yeah,
who desperately wants to be white trash Southerner, like with every fiber of his being. And he commits, and I love that commitment because that's all it takes, man. You can be anything you want to be.
But I think you can do it with loads of stuff as well, like loads of prominent people.
Yeah, that helps.
No. Like Joe Rogan, obviously mentioned a couple of times. The comes across as being like common man. Like he's incredibly successful. We know that, very rich, but he comes across as like a common based, like level man. Joe. There is no more common name than Joe. It is like the most boring name ever. Rogan is a really strong name as well. Like it suits that man, and that man suits the role he is within society. I think it's so.
What does that say about us, Lee?
I don't know. Maybe we just didn't get good enough names.
You guys don't even know my real name. No.
This is it. That maybe Homer was right. Simpsons predicts the future. Homer changes his name to Max Steel. If we just change our names.
That sounds like a non-heterosexual porn name.
It does sound like a non-heterosexual porn name.
Yeah. It sounds like someone you would find underneath the ferry bridge with Ollie.
I'm quite happy at the moment being YouTube's fastest growing UFO and paranormal channel.
Yeah, that last video was wild, man.
I think that is a fair 170 subs we've gained this weekend. All without Ollie. Weird, isn't it?
It turns out he's the worst part of his channel.
It is, isn't it? Like he used to say to me like, "Oh, I never get subs. Like there's never been any subs. I've been stuck at like 8,200 or whatever it was for there." All of a sudden, fucking Lee gets involved. Well, we're on our way to 9,000 now. I want 10,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, it's like what the Flying Saucers Are Dead, 6.9 thousand views, and then even the Amazing Lazarus 1.3, which is pretty normal, and then 33,000.
Moody Mongol, this is it. That's exactly how I felt when I saw 33,000.
It's because you guys don't have mastery of yourselves. You should just think it and it happens. All right. It's called being a woodsmith. All right. You got control. I recommend starting with driving a nail through wood. Doesn't have to be a big nail. Start with a thumbtack. You build your way up.
Right. Okay. I'll do my best.
Yeah. It's all about control.
No. Yeah. Wild numbers this weekend. It was really good. I don't expect it to be a new normal. For some reason, that has done fucking gangbusters. So
it bothers me actually.
I don't.
It makes me nervous.
I don't expect this show to do the same. I mean, that's
what? Because I'm on it, or is it because of the sexual material stuff?
It turns out. It turns out hidden is the key.
He's the draw.
No,
which is cool. He's a cool dude. I like it.
I really enjoyed that show. Like that
it was a good show.
Friday was a good fun.
Yeah. I feel bad we haven't invited anyone on this one.
Yeah, I think when we do the invite thing, I think it needs to be structured, because otherwise it's just gonna be a limited hangout with the same people coming on, and it's kind of not the deal, is it? But it's a good concept. The guest concept is a good concept. It just needs massaged, like a
what?
Like Whitley's colon.
Like Whitley's prostate?
Yeah.
You know what? Because that's not gentle. He described it in amazing detail. It was not gentle. But it was all love and light. It's good. It's all love and light. I mean, he shits blood now, but whatever.
It's what they did was they demonstrated on his asshole what
a prolapse is.
No, what we're doing to the planet. Like
prolapse?
That's what he was doing. He was like, you're fucking the planet. We're fucking your ass. That's like, stop doing it. Do you want us to stop doing this? Well, it's like, yes, stop fucking my ass. And they're like, right, okay, well, stop fucking the planet. He's like, all right, okay. And then he started recycling him, and they stopped recycling him.
He got wrecked so hard he prolapsed out the other side, and it's all love and light. Whatever you're into on the weekends, I don't want to know. I don't want to live in the state where it's happening. Keep that shit to yourself.
I think two things can be guaranteed from this.
All these channels getting torn down.
No, one, we're not getting a follow-up interview with Whitley Strieber.
I don't want one, man. Do you want it? Do you want him to converse us and start giving graphic detail on the sexual material and his, stimulated prostate?
Not only do I want it, I want him to do it at the same time as like stroking the microphone. So it's like ASMR, and he's talking about being bummed by aliens.
Pretty sure he could deep throat that microphone.
I'm pretty sure he could smuggle it by the sounds of it.
It's all love and light, man.
But yeah, which is exactly what you would need a light to explore his ass.
It's a void of darkness.
Anyone that's playing fucking Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's probably something like the Depths.
I think my son's playing that right now, actually. The new Zelda that came out.
Yeah.
He's been mowing the yard and saving for it.
Oh, go on, lad.
Yeah.
I'm sure two things. Right, we're not getting that follow-up interview with Whitley Strieber, and we're not getting green monetization on this episode. This has got a yellow tag written all fucking over it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Made of rubber, aliens would chop you into mince and eat you.
Joined April 25th, 2023. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Jared Kushner or Bill Gates, because we are fans of theirs.
Yeah, so thanks for entering the comment. I like comments like that, but if you could super chat it, that'd be super awesome. Maybe that's what I should do. Is like you can say really horrible things, like the worst things in the world, like the things that would make your mother not speak to you about me, but you have to super chat it. And if you super chat it, I'll show it.
No, I think that's just another sock account from the one I silenced earlier.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, it's, I don't know, man. Like, again, the book you should read it. If you're into the subject, absolutely read it. There's interesting stuff in there. Again, the Oak Ridge cases, that was interesting. The letters are interesting. And the thing is, you're going to get double duty on those letters.
The cases that are like trips as well, I find them super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones with radiation evidence and medical backing on it. And they're like, whoa, that's something. Again, that doesn't sound love and light, right? The woman's kid died. It's love and light, and then they went and told the woman, like, oh, we're sorry. There's nothing that could be done. What do you mean there's nothing they obviously have massive radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
And she dies of extremely rare leukemia.
Do you know what you could have done? You could have not abducted us.
Could have not have anything to do with them. Could have not dosed them, bathed them in whatever weird radiation that hits that her gums bled and her hair fell out.
But you know the thing there, though?
It's love and light.
Right, but so especially the ones that are claiming to be from the same entities, we'll say. Then why isn't everybody fucking bathed in radiation when they meet them? It's like the Brazilian case that we spoke about on Friday, and that was on James Fox's. James Fox. I'm absolutely convinced that is that alien is the mentally handicapped person that lives in that village.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a photograph. Like the thing, it was what was said on Friday. I wish I'd had it to pull it up on Friday. I found there was another. It's on the Y-Files again. I plugged the Y-Files last time. Y-Files this time. Fucking great podcast. Oh, sorry, great YouTube videos. Half an hour conspiracy videos. Brilliant. I love the Y-Files. I'd love to get that guy on, actually. If anyone that watches this podcast that may have a fucking word in the ear of the guy from the Wildfires or the Fish. I'd like to interview the Fish as well. Let me know, and I'd love to get him on the show.
Moody has a question for you.
Hang on, let me finish this first, and then we'll get to Moody. The mentally handicapped person was he'd been photographed next to that wall before, and he was like stooped up with his things up, all hunched over, looking exactly like the photo, like the drawing of the alien.
Do you ever think maybe he is an alien?
Maybe, or it was fucking Muddy, because apparently he was known for rolling around in the mud and getting all crazy,
as they tend to do.
He's a hard-R retard. It's not his fault.
Yeah, he was born that way.
Yeah. If it was nighttime, he scared the kids, and I think I think that's it. I think they saw something that scared them. And it fucked them. Well, we got more trolls.
Nah, I think it's the same one.
Oh, it's definitely the same one.
Yeah, it's the exact same one. Just
it's okay. He'll be starting a show. He'll be starting a show in half an hour.
One would think, right?
one could pontificate upon who the person is.
It's pointless.
But yeah, probably should concentrate on not destroying his own channel. Moody Mongo. But Lee, you're saying you wouldn't be scared if you got abducted while on a slab. Out pops Jimmy Savile with a probe saying, "Now then." Of course I'd be fucking scared. I'd be terrified.
You know, you're about to have a prolapse.
Or
maybe a Strieber love and light encounter.
Maybe Strieber love and light encounter.
Oh man.
I think that brings us to the natural conclusion of this show.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. We've been going for nearly 2 hours. It stretched this show as well, just like Whitley's anus. Because it only started at like an hour and a half, didn't it? Now we always dip into the 2 hours sort of mark. Which is cool. If you want to help us become channel members, just like if you've got this far and you're not subscribed, then what are you doing with your life? And just subscribe. You know, you've just and if you don't like it after 2 hours, then clearly you're into fucking hurting yourself. So subscribe anyway and do it again. Again, Rockfin is going to happen. I don't know if we're going to do a Rockfin exclusive show before Ollie gets back or something like that. There hasn't really been any like a firm thing. Either way, it will be within the next 2 weeks. There will be something. We'll probably maybe take this week to plan it, and then look at doing the first Rockfin exclusive show next week. I think that's probably a week Wednesday. It's probably a good idea. We can live stream on Rockfin as well, so we might live stream it. We might just pre-record it.
If you prolapse during the procedure, maybe Jimmy will fix it.
I like that.
Let's be honest. You're probably too old for him to want to put in the effort to fix it.
Do you know one of the worst things ever?
I don't know that we should. We've gone pretty dark. And Orphan, thanks for hanging out with us.
I used to love Jimmy Savile when I was a kid.
You know, when you were a kid, he would have loved you too.
He would have done. But the thing about I used to watch Jim Will Fix It every fucking weekend, and he always said at the end of his show, "Write in, and I'll try and fix it for you." Now then. And I did write in, and he also said, "If you write in, we can't promise we'll do everything, but we'll reply to every letter." All I wanted to do was meet Bret Hart. I just wanted to meet Bret the Hitman Hart. No, none of this, like, didn't want to go skydiving, didn't want to go to Disneyland. It was like, I don't care where he is. I just like to meet Bret the Hitman Hart. Not only did I not meet Bret the Hitman Hart, they didn't reply to me. So I was fucking heartbroken as a child because I didn't get a reply from Jimmy Savile. And then as an adult, as a fucking adult, because you used to have to put pictures and, you know, which now seems a bit weird. You used to send like a picture of yourself in with your letter. So now,
not only did I outfit, or did you have to dress as Little Bo Peep?
But not only did I not see Bret Hart, did I not get a letter back? I'm then an adult, and then I find out I must have been fucking ugly as well. So it's like full on rejection. I wasn't even fuckable. So that's my Jimmy Savile story. If you found that entertaining, you'll definitely enjoy Rockfin.
Well, we don't block trolls because you have to pay to be there.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's gonna be wonderful. Like fucking, I genuinely cannot wait to start doing that show.
What is
it's going to be
Angus up there? Imagine not being attractive enough for a pedo. Ouch. That's the story of Lee's life.
I just think I was too mature. That's all it was. I was an old head on young shoulders, and
you looked old for your age.
Yeah, and I was confident, and I think it intimidated him. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Chat's been fucking amazing. Chat was amazing on Friday. Yeah. Everyone that stays to the fucking end of these podcasts. The idea that there is 24 hours in a day. You spend on average 8 hours of those asleep. the remaining hours that you decide to spend 2 hours like listening to us just never ceases to amaze me. So thank you very much. Thanks for all of the super chats over the from Friday and today. Thanks to people, because we've got 28 subscribers that have already signed up to the Rockfin thing, waiting for the for the extra content we're going to put out. Yeah, that's considering we haven't even all we've done is put old shows up. Fucking great. You guys are fucking awesome. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Your book is a mixture of fact, the Roswell incident, and fiction, because there's a narrative throughout. The aliens that you describe in the book are not exactly endearing creatures, and yet you want us to understand them, and the descriptions of the aliens you write about would make us fear them. Embryo abductions, for instance.
Well, what I experienced was extremely frightening, and if this is real, and it spreads, we get 50 letters a day. That's the remarkable thing. After I wrote Communion, I didn't expect to, I hoped I would get a successful book out of it, of course, but I didn't expect what happened, which is that ever since it was written, we have been getting between 30 and 50 letters a day, and that's 4.5 years ago.
There would be the suspicion, though, that Americans used to have the commies to kick around.
That's my fear.
Right.
That now that the commies
don't
are
have
gone,
commies to kick around anymore, so they have aliens.
The government's going to admit that this is happening and say they're terribly evil, and we better go ahead and build Star Wars.
No, I'm telling you, man, the guy's definitely prolapsed. There is no way that Love and Light hasn't just blown his shit kicker right out. You know what I mean? I mean, that's major surgery too. So it's just got to be like a thing he's into, right? Like they're fucking raw dogging it. They're raw dogging that, and it's Love and Light, dude. Your rectum is bleeding. It is 6 inches out of your asshole. That's not normal. It's not normal. I mean, my God, the medical bills on that. The medical bills. Jesus.
There's a point.
Think of the poor doctor who had to look at it.
There's a point where you just got to go, you know what? Stop. I've had
enough. I can't, obviously.
I don't fucking care if you came from Alpha Centauri. You're fucking hurting me.
And I'm intimidated. Like, if their dicks are that big, whoa. That little gray body, this isn't cool. This isn't okay.
They must be dragging on the foot. I tell you what, they're not slender. Everything else about them slender.
You know, you've never heard it, dude. Advanced technology, they're bolting that shit on, right? They're auto-inflating something, or they're fisting the shit out of you. The slim little arms.
Maybe it's heads. Maybe they're using the heads.
Well, it would explain the shape.
Would explain the colon.
Yeah, but you think you'd hear more about them being into like raspberry jelly or jam or syrup or something?
Well, I mean, as far as ectoplasm goes,
how is it still recording?
There has to be some sort of loop going on.
Oh, definitely.
They choose.
Has to. No, like, so it's like you got anally raped by a demon, bro.
Whitley Strieber, more like widely sidewalk.